Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Bardon. Where did we get to? Let's take a look. The act of creation. There are four fundamental methods devised for the creation act of an elementary. 1. The projection of one element into a ready form, no matter whether the point in question be a mental, an astral, or a material form. 2. The projection of several elements into a ready form, which may be a mental, an astral, or a material form. 3. The projection of one element without any direct form, which will be produced by the element in question. 4. The projection of several elements which will be producing their form successively. I am going to explain all the four methods thoroughly in the light of practical examples. Method 1. Take any object of which you want to give the form to the elementary and put it in front of you. Choose, for example, a ball. It is of no importance at all whether it be a big ball of wood or glass, solid or hollow inside. A rather large rubber ball will do as well. Draw the desired element with the help of your imaginative faculty from the universe, and imagine it in the form you did choose in such a way that the shape of the object, rubber ball, is completely filled. Treat each element you want to work with in the same manner except Akasha, and always engage that element which best responds to your desire or your idea. Repeat this projection several times, each time imagining the sensation that more and more elemental matter is forming, accumulating and compressing. As soon as you are quite sure that this accumulation of the element is strong enough for the realization of your desire, do impregnate this already completed elementary with the concentrated desire. That is the purpose you aim at. Apart from that, give a name to the elementary, because it cannot exist without a name. At the same time, limit the period of its lifetime during which it has to fulfill its task. Supposing you did operate with the element of fire, the outcome will have been a fire elementary, and you have got a fiery ball. If it has been created from the water element, the ball will be similar to a glass ball created from the air element. If it has been created from the water element, the ball will be similar to a glass ball. Created from the air element, the ball will, that makes more sense. If it has been created from the water element, the ball will be similar to a glass ball. Created from the air element, the ball will have a bluish colour, and when produced from the earth element, the elementary will appear clay covered. Provided you did follow all these instructions, draw the elementary out of the object and send it on to the job you did select to be done. But beforehand, order the elementary to go back into its shape immediately after having fulfilled its task. Oh, it's getting late again. In this manner, you have the possibility of checking the elementary, whether it has or not done the job, by approaching the form with a sidereal pendulum. If the elementary has returned into the original form, say the rubber ball, after finishing its work, the pendulum will present vibrations, because such an elementary has a remarkable magnetical as well as an electrical radiation. The pendulum test is very important for you, as it demonstrated whether your order has or not been executed. Later on, after having acquired the maturity, you will be enabled to watch the work of your elementary by clairvoyance. If the pendulum does not show any vibrations at all, it will prove the elementary to be still working, i.e., the job is not yet finished. When sending off the elementary to do its piece of work, You ought never to forget that there are no bounds for an elementary. Neither time nor space can put obstacles in an elementary's way, and it really would be able to round the whole globe in a single moment, if necessary. You have to be firmly convinced that it will execute your order and obey your will within the time you have fixed, without any exception. Not the slightest doubt about the success must ever enter your mind. As soon as you have forwarded the elementary, cut off the connecting link between yourself and the elementary as suddenly as if you had used a knife and stopped to think of it instantly. As if you had used a knife and stopped to think of it instantly, after having sent it off. Punctuation in this book. You may transfer yourself into a state of vacancy of mind, or give your attention to quite another story. In short, you have to forget the elementary altogether. The more skillfully you manage this, the more pervasively and undisturbedly will the elementary work. If the time you had fixed beforehand has expired, make sure, with the help of the sidereal pendulum, that the elementary has returned into its form. In the negative, you have the opportunity of dissolving the elementary in the way you had previously determined, namely by burning its name with the help of a special ritual, or finally by spelling its name from backwards to forwards in an undertone. This disintegration, or properly speaking, this dissolution, can also be performed through the normal imagination, similar to the method we recommended for the projection of elements. You may use the elementary for the same purpose somewhere else too, if you like. Should your elementary not have returned to the form it is preserved in after the time you fixed, and should you suppose your order has not been fulfilled satisfactorily, just call back the elementary. Produce a more intense accumulation of the element by reinforced imagination and projection of the respective element, and then send the elementary off once more to do the required job. You may repeat this loading as many times as you like until the desired effect has been accomplished. Such a repetition of the loading will be necessary when you bring your elementary up against a problem the solution of which would exceed its tension and power. Moreover, you have to consider that the effectiveness of an elementary depends on your own mental maturity, consequently on your ability to condense an element, besides on your will, your conviction, and your emanative faith, which is capable to remove mountains. This is the most artless and easiest method of creating elementaries, which the magician is using for simple effects only, narrowly limited ideas and influences which do not require any special intelligence. For example, to give an order to another person, to offer protection in simple fares, etc. As mentioned before, mental, astral, and material effects can be achieved with the help of elementaries. In the manner quoted here, an elementary entity can be produced without any material shape as well. In such a case, one has to project the desired element into a form of thoughts operating in exactly the same way you did in the material production. This kind of creation of elementaries is more difficult, it is true, but it has the advantage that the form can also be transferred somewhere else, where a material body would not have space enough, for example, into the corner of a wall, and into such spots where a meddling of other people is quite out of question. This practice offers so many possibilities to the magician that it is left entirely to his intuition, to which purposes he likes to use the elementaries he did create. He can, for example, shield his house or flat from injuries with the help of an elementary, produce a more favourable atmosphere for himself, and similar things. All of us know that every science can be used for noble purposes as well as for evil ones. And so I am sorry to say this practice likewise can be misused for egoistic and malevolent purposes. A merchant, for example, can create an elementary which will aid him to increase the number of his customers. All the haunted houses, discredited as such by spiteful magicians, may be thus interpreted as a production of elementaries deliberately created to such malicious purposes. A respectful magician will never degrade himself to such kind of machinations.